welcome back to the news today. This is One on One. My guest tonight, Mr. Dan Meridor, is former Israeli politician who has served in the past as Finance Minister of Justice, and a Minister of Intelligence and Atomic Energy. As a member of the right-wing Likud party, he is looked upon as a more center figure who believes in the two-state solution. Good evening. Thank you very much for coming to our channel.
Good evening.
Mr. Meridor, I will start maybe with the most obvious question and the current one. Today, we know that the Arab League is meeting for 2 days, and it announced that it's not going to recognize the Jewish state. What is so important for Benjamin Netanyahu, the recognition of the Jewish state? Why does it need the recognition for the Jewish state?
It is, to me, tragedy of errors, to paraphrase Shakespeare somewhat. What is important is that when we have an agreement of two states, this is the end of the conflict. In other words, no right of return to Israel. Finality. Not their recognition of our character. Of course, it is a Jewish state. All my life I dedicate to building a Jewish state. What are we? Look around, we are a Jewish state. Not religiously Jewish. Jewish in national, cultural, and everything else. I don't need them to say it. Second, if you have YouTube and click there, Yasser Arafat, Jewish state, you'll hear him saying it. I recognize there's a Jewish state, he said it. So who needs this? I wouldn't make an issue of this. I would make an issue of the end of conflict, because this is the main problem. The Palestinians do accept two states. So far they haven't accepted, once there are two states, there are no more claims. End of conflict. That's to say, they won't have a right to go from Ramallah to Ramle, or to Haifa, or to Akko. The end of the historically held demand to return to the place of their grandparents from which they started the war in 48. This is the issue, and the finality is the issue, and I think we should focus on this rather than on the declaration of our character.
Which is very interesting what you're saying. So why is, you are a politician, you know politicians better than me, why is Benjamin Netanyahu, why is the Prime Minister insisting on this point? Is it an excuse not to continue with the peace negotiations?
No, I have had many posts in government. None of them was his spokesman, so I can't speak for him. You need to ask him. I don't want to undercut what he wants to do. He's the Prime Minister. I think it's a mistake. Not that I'm against the Jewish state. I am one, and I don't need them to recognize it. I can guess where it comes from. They thought, he and Tzipi Livni, by the way, together, that in order to block the demand of return to Israel, to go to Israel, they would say, we are a Jewish state. I told them in the beginning, I think it's a mistake, because the Americans will tell you, of course, Jewish state means Jewish majority. You have 80% Jews, have 70%. Million Arabs will come. It doesn't block anything. It doesn't help you. Who needs that? I think it's, again, I'm not against it. Why should I be against it? But this should not be the condition that would stop. I'll give you a simple question as a response to your question. Suppose tomorrow morning Abu Mazen and the authorities say, we accept your idea about borders, we accept your demands about Jerusalem, we accept your demand about the security, and we accept end of conflict, no right of return. Won't we sign the agreement because they refuse to say Jewish state? So it's not really the real issue. The real issue is that historically the fight of the PLO against Israel, against the existence of a Jewish state, is over. I don't need to change the narrative. I need to change the future.
I'm listening to you, and I'm very interested to know what is the thing that you understand and you understood that the politicians today in this process don't understand.
Well, I can't answer this. I think they may have good reasons. I think we have enough troubles. In the process anyway. We tried, not Netanyahu, Olmert government did all that they could, and Abbas didn't take it. One needs to say it. Barak did that in Camp David. I was with him at Camp David with Arafat. He didn't take it, the Arab side. So it may not be that if we do all that I want, there will be peace tomorrow. I have to say it openly. But we'll be clear where the dog lies, where the problem is. It's not in our court. And I think the way we put it will make it more difficult. Now, the difference may be the following. I think that continuing on the track on which we are now is dangerous. In the long term, we'll be in one state from the Jordan to the sea, and we can't have a non-egalitarian state where Jews do vote and Arabs don't vote in Hebron. It can't be the case. It shouldn't be the case. It's not Zionism. It's not our values. This is the danger to Zionism. So it's our interest not to continue, but to change. Where to? To two states. What the borders are, it's practically known. It's not 67 anymore. 67 plus swaps or changes to be agreed upon, including the main settlement blocks. Jerusalem is a tough issue. I don't have a simple solution to the Arabs except we need to fight for that. But the most important thing is that this puts an end to the conflict. Let's focus on that. By the way, internationally, we have support so far, and I hope it will continue, against the idea that they will go to Israel after they have a state. We don't have support on settlement activity. So I think it's wrong to continue allowing settlement all over the place, which means you don't mean a Palestinian state, but to insist on the declaration of the Jewish state. We miss the point here.
Yeah, well, it's amazing what you're saying, because when you're going in the West Bank, when you're going in Israel, when you even landing in the state of Israel, from up, you can see that the borders already exist between these two countries. You've been in peace process, you've been in peace negotiations. What are the obstacles that the Palestinians are putting every single time on the table?
Well, it's my reading of what they're doing. They don't say it. I think the leadership may have difficulty in saying end of conflict for very simple reasons. If there are two states and the border is agreed and no more demands, this means the raison d'etre of the PLO is a failure, because they were not about the territories. PLO was built before 67. About 48, about refugees, about the idea of Jewish state. To say that they should say, and I think this is a must, this is a precondition, this is the prerequisite for the agreement, that that's the end of the conflict, and there is a state called Israel, where the Jews are a majority, and this is and full equality to the Arabs of Israel, but Jewish state, the way we know it. This means peace, but it takes leadership on the Palestinian side to say, we failed to themselves in ridding the earth from the Jewish state, or from Israel, and we'll live with what we can. It took leadership on our side, still takes, to take a tough decision of dividing a land that we believe is ours, and I believe is ours. But I know the reality, and I say in the real life, we need to divide it, or else we have wonderful land, but no Jewish majority, or slim Jewish majority, which is a danger. So a leadership is needed, and they may not have it. Maybe they will. Why should I say they don't? Let Abu Mazen say these words. I agree to end the conflict. If he does that and no right of return to Israel, then I think we are in a new era. But as long as he doesn't say this and insists on his demands, and not to say this, we won't have the end of the conflict. You see, as I was critical of demanding a Jewish state, I can't understand why he doesn't say Jewish state. We raised the price so high, he should say it and take everything from us. If I were his advisor, I would tell him, take it. Arafat said it. Repeat what he said. I think it's not the right issue to quarrel about.
You know, one of the second biggest issue that Israel is dealing with is Iran, and the threat of nuclear Iran. Do you think that the approach of going with this peaceful Iran, with this other way, again with the negotiations, is the right way to go with Iran?
Well, in the Iranian case, we are able, and we are quite fortunate that we are not alone. In a strange and unique coalition, you have in that camp most Arab countries, Saudi Arabia leading, all the West, America leading, and many other countries, and Israel. On the other side, you have Iran, Syria maybe, proxy of Iran now, Russians in a way. That's it. So I think that if we have, and we had it, the world coalescing against Iran with the sanctions that brought Iran to a change of rhetoric and of content to some extent, it was a success story. I'm not very happy with the way the Americans led the negotiations. I think they could have had it with a better result. But it's not the end of the story. I just read in the New York Times 3 days ago an article about the economic situation in Iran. It's not good. There still is leverage. And let's be realistic. You can't erase from the minds and the brains of the scientists what they know about nuclear energy and atomic bomb and everything. They have it. What you can do is roll them back from the vicinity in which they are now to a bomb, and have a very good monitoring and system on place. This should be done. This should be our goal with the world.
Mr. Dan Meridor, thank you very much. I wish I had more than 10 minutes with you.
Next
Thank
time.
you very much for this. And we're going, that's it. We're finishing for tonight. Tomorrow we will be here at the same time, same place from the Jaffa Port. Have a great night.